Hi, welcome to another program. This week we want to cover the possible scenarios regarding the Russian-Ukraine conflict. As you might also see and read from the social media, that there are a lot of scenarios that are under review, and the journalists and analysts are discussing these scenarios. But as far as we see, there are not many possible scenarios that might come up. We believe that there are two actually scenarios that we are going to see, and one of them heavily overweights, let's say, the other one. And we want to talk about those, and let me know what you think about this. But before that, if you haven't been subscribed to our channel before, please feel so. If you do, there's a button, subscribe button over there, and you might hit it and become a member of our channel. And by supporting our channel, we are looking forward to grow up our subscribers. So without any further delay, let's look at the scenarios. Now, as we said, there are two scenarios we think, and the first one is it is beneficial for Russia to elevate the tension over the Minsk agreement in the eastern Ukraine, while Moscow keep the troops and the equipments along the border. Russia will not be willing to invade any part of Ukraine. Building up such forces will put pressure on Ukraine and West to give up some kind of concessions, while NATO will not formally disavow the prospect of Ukraine's membership in the alliance. Russia will always insist that the Western weapons, which might cause stress to Russian security, will not be deployed to Ukraine. EU will put pressure on Kiev to reassure the Minsk agreements, but it will be hard for Ukrainian President Zelensky to verify it unless cosmetic touches are applied on this agreement to save the face in the domestic or before the domestic politics. Now, however, if Moscow believes that the concessions are not satisfactory, then Moscow will not hesitate to increase the tension in the region, and in order to do that, they will use the separatists in the Ukraine to provoke the Ukrainian army. And if Ukraine losses will accumulate by time, Kiev has no chance not to move offensively, and this would give Moscow its excuse to intervene, or at least to invade some part of the Ukraine and to make its propaganda against this kind of being as aggressor. So if Ukraine military advances in Donbass, Russia army might respond, and then the military conflict is inevitable. But as I say, this thing is like, then once you increase the tension or elevate the tension, it will be hard for any party to control this, really. This is, we think, as a scenario one. So what about the scenario number two? Now, if there is no concession by West at all, Moscow might consider that they have to consider using the failure to impose a military action against Ukraine. And this might include the areas like east part of the Dnieper River and Odessa to secure the entire Black Sea coast, which is very much important for Russia in terms of security. And it means that they have to destroy they have to really control the large part of Ukraine. And that means a very big military invasion. It will cost a lot to Moscow, not only sanctions, but I think for decades to come, Moscow will be out of the international trade and all other things. But at this moment, what we see that the equipments along the border is not enough to control the whole region, especially for security purposes, for a long time. It might be enough to invade some part of it, but it may not be enough to control it for a long time. Out of two scenarios, we think the first scenario is more likely to happen. we cannot neglect number two scenario, but for the path to political settlement is through the slippery road. It can only be achieved if all parties agree some kind of concession to each other. Otherwise, scenario 2 can be played out. But we think still that Russia doesn't want to have a military conflict. It has a very fragile economy. Even though it might be successful to invade some part of the Ukraine, it cannot continue or it cannot remain intact in terms of controlling these parts, the invaded parts in future, for a long time. And therefore we really we think that the scenario number 1 overweights the scenario number 2. Anyway, if you like this video, please share your thoughts and share this video with your friends, and please again subscribe if you haven't been subscribed yet. We will really appreciate your support. See you next time. Bye.